I'm coming. I'm coming. Just getting cameras on. Sorry. I was a little bit slow. I'm here. Don't freak out. I'm coming. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Uh-oh. RTR2D2 hit the ground. Next to the Beatles. Let's see. I'll put him next to Ringo. There you go. Sorry, R2. I told you that thing has got to go, man. How's everyone doing? Oh, somebody already left. Sorry. You were waiting, but then you saw me and you left. What can I say? I'm not that handsome. Or I'm that handsome. I don't know. Whichever. Okay, guard your privacy and abide by your community guidelines. It says that on my little screen. So I'm guarding my privacy. So there's nothing here that you can't see or can see. How's everyone doing tonight? It's Tuesday, August the 19th, episode 80. So September 9th will be episode 100. That's crazy that I've done this for 100 straight days. Halloween is in 79 days, so that's nuts. Turkey Day is in 99 days. Okay, so it's under 100 days for Thanksgiving. And then Christmas is 127 days away. So start your shopping early. Lowe's already has Halloween up, and they've had it up for weeks. I'm sure Thanksgiving's available at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. And Christmas, I'm sure, isn't far behind. I'll go to Michael's and I'll see when Christmas goes up. But I'm betting if it's 127 days away, I'll bet that it's there before day 110, if it's not already up already. Seriously, because that's how early people do this stuff. Today is National Potato Day. I had potatoes twice today. I had potatoes for breakfast with my friend Gabor Klein, as we discussed music and the scene of Columbus. Things going on. There's things behind the scenes happening. It's soft ice cream day. I did have soft ice cream today, so I tried to get all of it in there. And it's aviation day. I did not do any aviating. So no aviating for me. Tomorrow is Bacon Lovers Day. Now, I guess my question is this: do you have to actually have lovers in there? Isn't it just Bacon Day? I did have bacon today. I had bacon. Did I bacon twice today? No, I didn't have bacon on my potatoes tonight, but I did have bacon this morning. So I already had bacon today, and I had bacon on my potatoes yesterday. So I've had my share of bacon, so I can have some bacon tomorrow if I want to. It's also affordable air travel tomorrow. I was like, what? Or accessible air travel. So I guess that's make it accessible for everybody. And I think I figured out why it's National Aviation Day today, but I'll get to that. It's also chocolate pecan pie day. I'm not a big fan of pecan pie in the first place. So if you're just adding chocolate to it, it sounds like what my dad did to Brussels sprouts when I was a kid. My aversion to Brussels sprouts. Why I don't like Brussels sprouts to this very day. When I was a kid, my mom would make Brussels sprouts the old-fashioned way. She would boil them. They weren't these spicy, fried, grilled, broiled things. No, they were like boiled like little stinky cabbages. And they smelled like little stinky cabbages and looked like little alien brains. And I was just not going to have that when I was a kid. Vegetables, kids, just not doing it. And at some point, I don't know what the exact conversation was. It was something about Hershey's syrup on them. You'll eat them, blah, 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 Hershey's syrup. And my dad put Hershey's syrup on it. And, you're not leaving the table until you finish these. I slept at the table. And in the morning, he woke up. When I got up, sitting at the table, like, you are one stubborn ass kid. And I was like, get it from you. There you go. That's how established that I'm not a Brussels sprout fan. And I think the last time I had them was at a restaurant that's no more, and a couple, maybe 10 years ago, because they were the grilled, all sorts of different, bacon bits and spices and flavor, and they're broiled and everything else. I had them. I called my mom at the dinner out with, people, and they're like, "What do you call this?" I called my mom. I'm telling you about having Brussels sprouts, and I told everyone the story of the Brussels sprouts. So still, that's like the first time I had Brussels sprouts, and I can't even tell you how many years, and I probably have not had them since. Not a fan. I'm just not that guy. this. Sorry, Brussels sprouts bring back traumatic memories to me. So yeah, that's what that's same with like pecan pie, and it's National Radio Day tomorrow on the eve of the birth of CD 101, August 21st, 1990, and the anniversary 35 years on Thursday. Maybe I'll find a radio station story tonight. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so there's many things that happened, as always. So many birthdays and so many things. And then some funny things that I'll find along the way. So in 1848, the New York Herald is the first major East Coast newspaper to report that gold has been discovered in California. California! It's the gold rush! And I did look at the exact dates, but for a while we couldn't own gold. You could own gold, and then you couldn't own bullion. You couldn't have gold, and then you could have gold again. One of those things. 1895, outlaw John Wesley Harding is shot and killed in El Paso, Texas, in a shootout in a saloon. John Wesley Harding. That's I forget what he was famous for, but I mean, you know the name. But yeah, so he was. You're an outlaw with a gunfighter, and that's what happens. You get shot, and that's how you die. So that's not an ironic one. The guy that discovered Coca-Cola dying of stomach cancer, that feels ironic to me, a little bit ironic. But if you're in fact, a gunfighter, I don't think that's irony. I mean, unless I'm understanding wrong how irony is done, but that's the way it is. In 1930, Frenchman, they had to put that word Frenchman there, Adolphe, I believe it was not just Adolf, it was like Adolphe, because I had a little umlauty thing. Célestin Penrod maybe, was the first person to jump using a parachute in Europe. I think that's kind of like, some of those are the first, like the first person to eat a lobster. Who is that person? And who's the first person to use a parachute? You'll be fine. Go for it. I parachuted. I've done it a couple times. The first time, and I think I've told this story before, the first time I went with a group of guys, and we went and, it was like 6 hours of training and practice, and, you get your moves down and something goes wrong, and you're all, pumped up, and you're, boop, 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 and then you go up in the plane, and you get out, and boom, you free fall a little bit. We did static line, so I didn't do tandem, so nobody was holding on to me. So this is static, allows you to get faster free falls or faster to actually do it yourself. Anyway, so yeah, static line. And then the second time, I went with my friend Mogul Mike, and we got up there, and there was no refresher course. We got there, they're like, suit up. You got in the plane, and we were there 15 minutes, and we're now leaving the ground and flying, and within 20 minutes, it's like, okay, jump, which I think was the scariest of the two, because holy hell, there was no refresher course. So again, the first guy to jump out of a parachute, it didn't say whether he made it or not. I'm assuming he did, but yeah, wow. That's got to be a little bit unnerving to jump out of a parachuted plane. If you're the first one, hey, you go first. Just saying. 1960, today is the day that Francis Gary Powers, the U.S. CIA spy, was convicted. This is this U-2 spy plane incident I talked about a little bit, the sham trial in Russia, that he was convicted and sentenced to 3 years in prison and then 7 years hard labor in a labor camp in Russia. He served 17 months, and then he did an exchange program for some KGB spy of the Soviets or whatever. But yes, I forget, he wasn't given a warm reception when he came back. I think they thought he was compromised and everything else. So, don't get caught spying, and don't get caught, brought back, because that makes it just as bad. 1965, the Yardbirds started their first U.S. tour. I was just listening to Yardbirds. Heart Full of Soul. Got some good songs. Now I had to look, because I don't know if they were doing some covers, but I heard a Jimi Hendrix song. I heard a Led Zeppelin song. So I'm not sure if they were the initiants of the song or they were playing the covers of them. I don't know. because I'm not sure what year it was. It was just sort of playing in the background on the YouTube music. Because I don't pay for music. I listen to commercials because that's what funded my life for all the years at the radio station. So I'm okay. I listen to commercials. I know. It sucks, but that's the way it is. 1966, 6.8 in Turkey, earthquake. And it just also, there was showing in 1988, there was 2 more earthquakes. It just didn't show the size of them. So again, that time of year, I'm telling you, it's got to be something with the earth. Just my personal opinion. 1966, the Beatles are pelted with rotten fruit and fireworks outside the it was the Memphis Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee, as well as the KKK protested their concert and were burning albums outside. Good job, Tennessee. The following year, the Beatles came out with their #1 hit song, All You Need Is Love. I don't know, was that ironic that they put it out on the anniversary of being pelted by rotten fruit and everything in Memphis, Tennessee? I don't know. Maybe. I'm thinking yes. They seem to do a lot of intentional things. A lot of the stuff was, the same day when they released things. So I'm thinking that was probably very intentional. That's just my personal opinion. I could be completely wrong and full of shit. But I'm thinking that's what it was. Just saying. That's my opinion. 1969, Alice's Restaurant, Arlo Guthrie's hit song, is released for its film adaptation, also starring Arlo Guthrie. I don't know if I've seen that. I may have. It's just been a really long time, if it has. 1970, I did not realize this one at all. 1979, My Sharona. My Sharona. By the Knack. Hits #1 and stays there for 6 weeks. Really? I was like, okay, I mean, I know the song, but I didn't realize, like, wow, really? You wouldn't think that was a #1 song, but for 6 weeks too. So that's pretty interesting. I find that, finding some of these songs sometimes, then hearing them that they were that popular, I have to always kind of be remiss and go, really? Interesting. My Sharona, #1 for 6 weeks. All right. Fair enough. In 1993, Fisher-Price and Mattel merge to become the largest toy manufacturer. I wanted to dive a little bit deeper, but I ran out of time. I got a little late start tonight because I was really sleepy, and I may have taken a nap after I ate dinner on the couch. It just ate me after that. It was a long day. I worked in an attic. It was really hot, and I'm still really sore from falling down the other day. I did tell you I fell down, right? Yeah, I fell down. And then today, I met one of my new neighbors today, a very nice young man from California, and he shook my hand really firmly. And I think I gripped his hand like a limp noodle because he squeezed really hard. And my hand where I hurt it, oh my God, I was like, I tried not to scream and make noise, but it hurt. So he probably thinks I have a very limp handshake after not being able to really do that because it really freaking hurt. I'm not going to lie. 2008, Lady Gaga releases her debut release, The Fame, and it got Best Dance Album, Best Electronic of 2010. So it took a year and a half, but she got Best Album for it after that one. And speaking of Lady Gaga, who was also friends with Tony Bennett, 2016, Tony Bennett received a statue outside the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco, where in 1961 he sung for the first time his very popular song, I Left My Heart in San Francisco. I did not realize that. I wish I would have known that when I was there last time. I would have checked out the Tony Bennett statue outside the Fairmont Hotel because I was right down the street from the damn thing. Who knew? I do now, so next time I go back, I will look for the Tony Bennett statue because I also left my heart in San Francisco. Maybe. 2020, Apple, the company, its valuation hits $2 trillion. Whereas only 2 years before, in 2018, its value is at $1 trillion. So that's insane that it doubled in that short period of time. That would have been the time to buy the stock right then and there. 2018, if someone had the insight to do that, they're probably very rich right now. Me, on the other hand, I did not. It was probably expensive, and I don't have money. But that's crazy that that valuation went from 1 trillion in 2018 to 2 trillion in 2020. Whoa, that's some big, big, big stuff. In 2022, Europe, the drought in Europe was so severe that in a river, the rocks became exposed. And now the stones that were uncovered were called hunger stones because of drought. They had dates on them that went back to 1417. And inscribed on the rock, it said these words, "If you see me, weep." So that's kind of crazy if you think about it, that the water receded. The drought was so bad that it had not seen the light of day since 1417. And the inscription was, "If you see me, weep," on the rocks. Kind of wild. Did I tell you about this guy? The guy in the van. That's me. That is my cameoing, role-playing, co-starring debut with Stephen He in Day Tripping with Heinz Verified. So please go check it out. And while you're there, just make a comment about me. Watch it. Of course, watch that. It's good. Stephen's very nice. But, oh crap, dropping stuff. I don't know what I just dropped something. Anyway, but please make comment. Comment about me. Because, that was a leg. That was a leg off the, that was a leg off the Black Magic. Oopsie. Make comment about me because I would like to do this again. And that would be stupendous. But they won't do it if we don't get popular. So you have to make us popular and talk about me, more me, the meanness, Randy, RANDSANITY, all that good stuff. We want that. And while you're at that, subscribe to this, RANDSANITY. I will go through the trials and tribulations of the patent and trademark stuff I have to do because it's coming up again, and it's a lot of fun to do. Governmental regulations have only gotten easier over time. No, I'm lying. Completely lying. Anyway, born on this day. So born on this day in 1785 was Seth Thomas. Seth Thomas was the first person to mass produce clocks. Now, the only reason that's funny is because I had a Seth Thomas clock. I remember the Seth Thomas clock. It was in my grandmother's house. It was one of those little mantle clocks that kind of like, shaped like this, where it's like low. Yes, I totally remember because I was like, oh my God, that was a Seth Thomas clock. So I always said it was Seth Thomas. And I was like, what the hell is Seth Thomas? But yes, apparently he was the first person to mass produce clocks. I don't know if they still do them, but I Googled them, Seth Thomas. It looks like they still make them. To this day. And some of them are expensive and some of them are worth a lot. Who knew? 1859, Charles Comiskey, Hall of Fame guy, owner of the Chicago White Sox, and guess what? Comiskey Park. So that's who that guy is, Charles Comiskey. Now, here's why I think it's Aviation Day, because in 1871, Orville Wright was born in Dayton, Ohio. So that could definitely be why it's Aviation Day. Just saying, makes sense to me. That's how I'm going to put it together. There's my connection of saying why it's Aviation Day, because Orville of Orville and Wilbur Wright was born today in Dayton, Ohio. 1883, Coco Chanel was born. Of course, we know Coco Chanel. Now, she was born in Sommer, France. Now, I had to look because I was thinking about Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, because wasn't that in Sommer, France? But no, it was Beaumont-Sommer, France, where Dirty Rotten Scoundrels happened, or was the fictional, or well, maybe it was a real place, I guess, but where Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was filmed, or took place, I guess. I don't know, really was filmed where, but that's the city where the movie was placed, staged. I don't know, what do you call it? That was just where the filming, or no, that was where the fictional characters in the thing, Freddie and, Steve Martin. I like that movie. Anytime I watch it, I laugh at that movie because it's just very silly. Your Trident, sir. Yes, yes, yes. Sorry, I'm amused by easy things. Um, 1900. Now this is where I had to, this is where I got fell into a rabbit hole a little bit because I was reading about Gilbert Ryle. He was an English philosopher, and he's the person that coined the phrase "the ghost in the machine." So the ghost in the machine basically is the duality of man that we are together but separate. Our physical and mental beings are separate simultaneously. And then it went into this whole bunch of stuff, and I just kind of was reading a bunch about it. But that was what the original concept of the ghost in the machine is. Now it's used for the consciousness, if you want to call it, of computers and other such things. But yes, this gentleman, Gilbert Ryle, English philosopher, the ghost in the machine, born in 1900 today. Now this one was a stretch, but then it landed. I landed the plane. It was hilarious. So, in 1906, Philo T. Farnsworth. You're gonna have to bear with me because if you aren't a cartoon fan, it's gonna take a long time for you to get this, if ever. So, Philo T. Farnsworth, he he was an inventor. He invented the electronic, like TV and the video tube. Now, the name Farnsworth seemed like, oh, okay, hold on again. I have to think about it. And then I was like, wait a second. So, in Futurama, Philip J. Fry, which, by the way, we missed his birthday. Philip J. Fry was born on August 14th of 1974. Cartoon calendar Philip J. Fry. But he is the great 30x of Professor Farnsworth. Now, Professor Farnsworth, okay, bear with me, is Hubert J. Farnsworth. And Hubert J. Farnsworth in the bio says he is a descendant of, in fact, Philo T. Farnsworth. So Futurama has basis in a real person of the cartoon character, Hubert J. Farnsworth, being a descendant of Farnsworth. So I found that to be comedically funny because I love Futurama, but I was like, wait a second, Farnsworth? I'm like, isn't that name? So yes, I did a little digging and found it. Yes, in the Wikipedia description, he is a descendant of him, 30-time descendant, 30 generations, because it happens like the year 3000 or something. But there you go. It took a minute to land that plane. Sorry. 1919, Malcolm Forbes was born. Forbes magazine, the other younger Forbes. 1921, Gene Roddenberry of Star Trek, the creator of Star Trek, is born. Now, I found this interesting because also born on this day is Jonathan Frakes, who is William Riker on Star Trek Next Generation. I was a fan. I like the original Star Trek. But also on this day in the future, in 2335, it's William Riker's birthday. So that was the same with the commander. So I'm assuming they did. So they gave the actors' birthday to their characters in the Star Trek Next Generation. Interesting. But his birthday actually falls on the same birthday as Gene Roddenberry, who is from Star Trek. So his birthday is that, and Riker's birthday is that. Just weird little connections, how the world works. Peter Ginger Baker, born on this day from Cream, Sunshine of Your Love. That's a classic Cream, if you've ever heard that one. Ian Gillan of Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water, Fire in the Sky. Deep Purple from 1945 was Ian Gillan's. 1946, our 42nd president, good old Bill Clinton. And we just talked about Monica Lewinsky the other day, as a matter of fact. Bill gave up the ghost about him having an appropriate something with good old Monica Lewinsky in the Oval Office. So he did that right before his birthday. Happy birthday to Bill. 1948, same birthday as Bill, Tipper Gore. Tipper Gore, if you don't remember, was the wife of, or is the wife of, Al Gore. But Tipper Gore was very famous in her own right because she's the one who came up with, in 1985, the PMRC, the Parental Music Resource Center, where she got in front of Congress and the Senate and she rallied against heavy metal, punk, and hip hop. Those bad words. Oh, we have bad words and we must rate them. We must put warning labels on the music to protect the children. So yes, she's the one who created the little warning labels on that. The PMRC, Parents Music Resource Center. Bitch. Anyway, that's what happened back then in 1985. 1951, John Deacon of Queen, born on this day. He was bassist. And as I said, Jonathan Farks of Star Trek, 1952. William Riker, the actor. Farks plays Riker in Star Trek Next Generation. Also, his birthday in the Star Trek Next Generation is 2335. So that'll happen in, 1,010 years from now. Well, no, this is 2025, so I guess 310 years. Wow. That was 33. No. Just 300. Don't mind me. Math not my strong point today. Joey Tempest, or real name is Rolf Larsen, from Europe. The final countdown. We all know that song. You've heard it somewhere. It's been on some show that you've seen or heard. I don't care how old you are, you've heard that at some point because it was on some crappy soundtrack to something, or even a TV commercial recently. Is that a TV commercial? It might be for some insurance company or something. They keep using all these songs. I keep hearing, I keep going to Lowe's and I keep hearing, what do I keep hearing at Lowe's? Oh my God, I'll have to remember that for tomorrow. But I keep hearing the same song at Lowe's. I'm just like, what? And it's the Hollies. Is it the Hollies, The Air That I Breathe? Only is the air that I breathe. It's something like that. And I'm just like, really? I was like, what? Okay, whose soundtrack is this, and why are you playing this? Just curious. Also today, in 1963, was John Stamos. The man himself, Mr. Handsome John Stamos. 1965, Kara Sedgwick. I liked her in The Closer. I thought that was a fun movie that she was in. Also on this day, Kevin Dillon. I think he played in Platoon. He was one of the actors in Platoon, Kevin Dillon. And then Matthew Perry, 1969. Today's his birthday. And they saw something just recently, yesterday maybe, found guilty or whatever, the woman who was Queen Ketamine, and she's the one who got him the drugs that killed him. Okay, well, there you go. That Mr. Perry shouldn't be doing Special K then. Falling down the K-hole and never coming back out. Matt, what are you going to do? Rock and roll. Also on this day is Dave Douglas, Reliant K, Michael Todd, Coheed and Cambria, and then, like I said, William Riker. I ran out of time, so I breezed through who died today. And the only people I found that died today that really I cared about was Caesar, Aurelius Caesar. It happened in 14 AD. And then Groucho Marx. Groucho Marx. So I have a really interesting story about Groucho Marx, but I'm going to change cameras because this one's going to churn out. So I'm going to go back to this for a second and just remind you that you should, in fact, go and make comments about this because that would be really great and fabulous and stupendous, and I would love that. But anyway, Groucho Marx, I dressed as Groucho Marx for one of the Mardi Gras, one of the many Mardi Gras I went to, when I went to the Mom's Ball, MOMS. It required costumes. I think I told the story about the required costumes that you had to literally go through a gauntlet of entry people that if you did not have an appropriate costume, they would turn you away. Ticket or not, did not matter. they would turn you away at the door. And then they had like racks of crappy costumes that were, stinky, smelly things that you could put on, but you had to pass the standards of these inquisitors as you went in. And I went as Groucho Marx one time and did a really good job, if I remember correctly. And I had some pictures of that one, but that was a very memorable one. I was talking about remembering a story from Bourbon Street and the Super Bowl, and I think I've told this one, but it was because there was something I was watching last night on TV where they went to a party at night when they came out. It was daylight in the world was started happening. They were like, oh wow, it's like day, and I was talking about that the Mardi Gras experience when we went to go to a Super Bowl party, and you had to go down to a little side street. It was Bourbon Street, and it's happening, and the whole place is wild and crazy with the Super Bowl. But we got invited to a sort of a VIP schmoozy boozy party, and we didn't know what was going on. But we went to the side door, knocked, and Fidelio and some crazy password we had to use, and we go up the stairs to the second floor. And it was the party. Like, Augustus Busch was there, Hugh Hefner was there, Wayne Gretzky was there, Hootie and the Blowfish was there, Tim Allen was there, all these stars and all these people. And we just hung out there. And I think we went late. That's the thing. I don't think it starts like 11 o'clock. But it was one of those things where not realizing, because it was pitch black, there was no windows in this place upstairs. When we walked back down the stairs and opened the door, it was daylight. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning because we hadn't, there was no cell phones and we didn't check our watches or whatever. And walking sort of outside was like, oh, crap. Like, okay, it's daylight. We should stop and get some beer because we didn't have enough all night. But now that it's daylight, you're sort of like, oh, we're on Bourbon Street. We should get French toast and Coronas because we can. It's right there. I don't know why I brought that one up. Oh, Groucho Marx and Mardi Gras, New Orleans. There it is. See, at least I didn't completely lose my train of thought that time. I do sometimes lose my train of thought, but not that time. I will, again, my public service announcement is please remember to tie your shoelaces. Tripping is not a great thing. My swollen hand is a little bit better today, but you can still see my knuckles missing over here. And I did get the stones out of my hand, but I still have some pretty good little dings there. And my shoulder, I don't know if you saw my shoulder, I've got a nice big old bruise on my shoulder right there. Yeah, that'll get me kicked out of YouTube for showing that probably. But yeah, that was a hard hit. I didn't dislocate it, which I'm happy about. I have dislocated this shoulder once before, my right shoulder. It's my left shoulder that I did a few times. My famous one is the bicycle incident when I was a kid. When I first dislocated it, my dad just basically popped it right back in. Crashing on the bicycle out in front of the house in the street, and all the kids are like, ah, and I'm standing there. My arm is like literally, my shoulder's out. It's down here, like in the front of my shirt. My dad just, puts down the New York Times and his martini, walks outside, and he just kind of looks at me, grabs me, and just goes, puts it back in, and like, go to a little dirt in it, Johnny. Go back to playing, kind of stuff. And that's what I did. It's kind of like, okay, I guess it's, wow, all right, good job, Dad, thanks, kind of thing. And then over time, I did it a couple more times. Washing machine at the beach with friends was one of my better ones. Crashing and getting body slammed, mercilessly washing machined onto the sand, body surfing. And getting up and knowing it was dislocated while I'm in the water, and slammed again and kind of like out as I'm laying down. It kind of gets it back in, and I get up and I'm bleeding. My entire front is just one big raspberry. And we went to Martel's Tiki Bar, and I was like, I think we should go get lunch. Like, you okay? Wow, you're all bleeding. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good, but we should go get lunch now. And I remember we went up, and I was like, oh great. I was like, can I get 2 Coronas and 2 tequilas, please? And I was like, anybody else need anything? And it's just like, boom, boom, chug them down. I'm like, okay, someone else is driving home, and we need to really go to the hospital because I am in real pain. And so yeah, that was, I think, the one that really did it, because I tore the labrum, I think is what it is, the cup. That was the one where I tore the cup, because it was weird after that, and I lost range of motion and everything else. So I eventually had to have rotator cuff surgery. Um, and that's one of those great things that, we all can do. Yay! Time for the Velcros. What's up, flea rabies? Yeah. So, but I'm good now. I got that whole thing done. But yeah, the the Velcros for the shoelaces. This was these Gore-Tex shoelaces that are like a loop. You just pull it and you cinch it and then you tuck it in. Yeah, I have not put them on since I fell because I'm remiss to do that. Also, for the fact that I walked through a bunch of poison ivy and I have a feeling they're covered in it. I did manage not to get poison ivy, knock on wood. But knowing me, I will get it from my shoes. Poison ivy, if you didn't know, if you're allergic to it or not, it's the oil. It's Euretia oil, I believe, is the pronunciation of it. Even though I butcher pronunciation constantly, it's the Euretia oil. So that stuff is so volatile that I have a couple of horror stories of Euretia oil. One is that I went golfing and I know I walked in poison ivy and didn't get it because I had long pants on and golf shoes. The next spring I got poison ivy and I couldn't figure out how or why. It's because it was on the shoelaces still, like from September till spring. Yes, it still lasted and got it. I didn't get it bad though. The worst one though, the worst long-term story is that we used to do something at Muirfield for the golf outing. We used to put up snow fence, and the snow fence went up to designate the space of the party that we had at this private house with an indoor swimming pool. Bougie. And the fence clearly, when someone put up, they put it into the yard, and there was a lot of poison ivy, tons of it. And you roll the fence up into this tight thing and then zip tie it up and we throw it in storage for months. So May it got thrown into storage. We didn't use it again until I think it was like September for a tailgate or something. So it sat months, May, June, July, August, September, maybe 5 or 6 months. Afterwards, I unrolled the fence, my thumbs in the center of the fence, sort of unrolling it or re-rolling it. The next day I had poison ivy and I got it so bad it was in the crook of my hands, both of them, and then spread all the way down because all the oil was still on that plastic fence. It had nowhere to dissipate to, or because it just sat. It still was viable, and I still caught it, and badly, not just a little bit, like horribly. So yeah, I'm always cautious of poison ivy. Anytime I see it, I'm always like, bad stuff. Kill it with fire. Kill it with fire. Just break out the torch, but you can't. See, that's the worst part, because if you actually kill it with fire, the smoke can have the oils in it, and if I inhaled the oils, you could get it in your lungs and you can die from it. So, no, don't kill it with fire. Kill it with poison. That's what you have to do. But even the dead leaves and the dead vines still have the oil, so I still can't pick it up, so it just can look dead. And that's what the neighbor's yard where I killed all the poison ivy, it's all there. It just is dead sticks, but I can't pick up the dead sticks because it's viable. There you go. Poison ivy. There's my story. I'm sticking with it, and I'm avoiding it. And if I do get it at some point, I will share it with you because I'll be miserable. I hate it. It's one of those things that, as a kid, it was very easy to get poison ivy because you don't identify it, and as a feral child that we were, allowed to run free through the woods of New Jersey, the backyards, the school, and everywhere else that we would play, there was lots of poison ivy. So if you didn't identify it, wait, that's poison ivy, I should not run through there, you got it. So yeah, that stuff. Fun stuff. There you go. More of the information you needed to really know about me. I understand completely. Didn't know the oil stayed that long. Yes, it does. I mean, read about it. I believe I'm almost positive that's what it's called, is Euretia oil. And I think it had the viability for, a really, really long time. Let's see if I can find it real fast before I don't. Poison ivy oil. Yeah, Euretial. That's how it's spelled. Euretial. And there's its little chemical overview. It's OHOHR. How funny is that? It's OH in a little pentagon, OH on the top, OH, and then R. Urushiol oil. This led to distilled extract of poison ivy, which is prescribed to many people suffering from skin problems and even paralysis. Oh, yeah, no, that's not what I want that at all. That's horrible. That would be bad. Poison ivy oil, yes. Characteristics: urushiol oil is pure form in a paleo liquid with a density of blah 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 blah. Boiling point. Yeah, I don't need to know all of that, but yeah, that's anyway. It's urushiol oil. You can Google it and Wikipedia it and whatever and find out how viable it is, but it's really not great. That's anyway me. Other people I know don't get it. I had my friend growing up with was not allergic to it. Could pick it, pluck it, rub it on him, didn't. So yes, in fact, he did chase me with it around the pool and, Oh, God love kids. We're so good to each other. I think that's it. I don't really have a ton else. The radio station anniversary is on Thursday, 35 years. Let's see, a memorable radio station memory. Let's see if I can think of one that I have not talked about previously. I've talked about like being in front of stage and screen and all that stuff. One of the craziest stories, I think, I don't know if I've told you, we used to do a guest DJ every day in the month of May. We did guest DJs every Friday, but we did guest DJ every day in the month of May. And one time we had a guest DJ who was on the air, so I'm like, hey, I'm John Brown, blah, 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 blah. About, I don't know, halfway through his set, two cops come walking in the door, and they're just like, we're like, yeah, can we help you? They're like, yes, we need to see your DJ. We're like, no, your guest DJ, the one that's on the air right now. We're like, okay, what's going on? They're like, we just need to, show us where he is, kind of thing. We're like, okay. So here comes these two cops. They're like, John Brown. They're like, stand up, you're under arrest. So they stand this guy up, they spin around, they put handcuffs on him, they open his bag, he's got a bong and weed in his bag, and they march this kid out the door. And we're just like, what the hell happened? Apparently he had a warrant for his arrest. And he was on the air like, hey, I'm John Brown. I'm your guest DJ. And someone was like, wait a second, isn't there a warrant for this guy? That was listening to the station. So they went ahead and executed the warrant. They knew where he was and went and arrested him. We did not break stride. I remember specifically, it's like, what do we do? I'm like, nothing. Act like he was never here. Just keep going. Don't mention the guest DJ anymore. Just keep playing music like he was never here and see if anybody notices. But yeah, sure as crap. They just walked him out the door, handcuffed away. We just kind of stood there dumbfounded like, have a nice day. See ya. It's like, what else are you going to do? We had an employee one time where the FBI came looking for him. Have you seen blah, blah, blah? And we were like, hi, no, could we help you? Federal Bureau of Investigations were like, what? It's like, yes. So have you seen him? We're like, no. Like, has he been in today? We're like, no. I was like, what the crap? I don't think he ever came back. I think that was the end of that. I don't think he ever returned. That was just one of those crazy, crazy, crazy coworker things. We also, we had a few people that, passed. We had 2 program directors, male program directors. Actually, 3. 2 while they were employed, 1 who was no longer employed, but all the male program directors from my time, all have passed. Tom Tuber, Andy Davis, and Mace Brazel. So that's kind of sort of the spinal tap of drummers. It was the program directors of the radio station, for real. Just really bizarre. What else? What other stuff that we don't really know about that was going on? Oh, we did have someone that bugged the studio and would listen to the conversations that the general manager would have with air staff and the program director privately. He completely bugged the studio. So we'd just sit there and be like, acting like they're listening and doing stuff when they, in fact, no, they had bugged the studio. Amazing. We did have to use hidden cameras to catch employee theft. We used hidden cameras, hidden a clock, like one of those little spy cameras with a clock and stuff. I mean, crazy, crazy stuff over the years. Just the lunacy of a radio station startup. Because again, we didn't know what we were doing. We never did. We just kind of ran everything by the seat of our pants for many, many years, and that was the beauty of it. We never set out to change the world, even though we may have. We just went to have rock and roll lifestyles. So that was it. That was it. All right. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye because nobody else is watching at this point. I rambled on too long, apparently. So you'll have to come back and see me again. Have a lovely Tuesday and a lovely rest of your week. I'm hoping by Thursday night I will be maudlin and sad at the radio station loss, but at the same time I'll be happy because of the physical property loss. I'll explain all this one day in a memoir that will come out and no one will care. But I will. It'll be cathartic. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, friends. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, even though there's not much left. And have a great tomorrow. And I will see you all again. Thank you. And as per usual, we will fade to black. I'm still here. Oh, Fluffy, I didn't know you were still there. Sorry, it didn't say concurrent listeners. My bad. Bye. See you tomorrow.